All right, well, the big man upstairs mustn't have liked my other video because it's chucking it down and we've got a little storm on the way, but here we go anyway. We proceed. Now, another magnificent requests come in from John Hargroves, who must be absolutely charging through his politics work. It's magnificent to see. What we're doing is we're evaluating the effectiveness of Australia's cooperation with 3 states in the region. Now, I'm really struggling to see where this fits into the exam in its current setup. So I think this could fall into potentially a 7-marker in the source analysis, where they give you something in the sources and then ask you to evaluate Australia's relationship with what's in the sources to Australia's relationship with other states. That could be where it comes out. It could form part of a 10-marker that was based perhaps on a quote, but there's no corresponding key skill in the area of study 1 with China. So it's interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see if they assess this or how they assess this in the exam. But what we're going to do to make sure we're prepared for any eventuality is just have an analysis of 3 states and be ready to answer a question that on each of the 3 states. Thankfully, we've looked at these in some detail anyway, and this should all just be a look at prior knowledge. So the 3 states we're looking at are China, the United States, and PNG. For China, our evaluation is going to suggest that there's been mixed effectiveness, or that Australia's cooperation with China fluctuates. China is obviously Australia's largest trading partner, so $220 billion in two-way trade in 2023. So that suggests that we cooperate quite well. But if we look at Australia's calls for a COVID inquiry, that hurt cooperation and led to some tariffs, barley and wine, those sorts of things. There's a quote here from Albo, which is that we will cooperate where we can, disagree where we must, and engage in the national interest. And that's from 2024. So you could use that to sum up Australia's cooperation with China, but it's mixed effectiveness there. So our second state in the region is the United States, and we could say that that has been highly effective in that the cooperation has drastically enhanced our security interests or our ability to defend ourselves. So you can look at, from the trial exam, that Lowy Institute data on defence networks backs that up. But we've also got, just looking at AUKUS and the Quad, you're going to see that Australia's security interests have been drastically improved, or ability to defend ourselves have been enhanced by our relationship with the United States. There's a highly trusting relationship. Now, in an evaluation, if we were going to look at some things or some negatives, you might suggest that it's made others in the region unhappy and potentially has at times raised tensions and puts us in a position where we might get drawn into conflict. That's obviously with the United States and China, tensions in the South China Sea, those sorts of things. Our very strong alignment with the United States ruffles feathers and makes people less likely potentially to want to deal with us. Papua New Guinea, you could say, has been moderately effective to effective. So Australia and Papua New Guinea, for those that aren't aware, have a very deep ties. Papua New Guinea was under an Australian mandate from 1914 to 1975. Fun fact, my great-great-grandfather established that mandate in 1914, one of the first battles of World War I. Great-great-great-grandfather, General Holmes. Google him. In 2023, probably not good for the exam there, but we'll throw a fun fact in. 2023 bilateral security agreement is something that we can talk about that is evidence of some strong cooperation. PNG see Australia as their security partner of choice, which is a sign of an effective cooperation. Also, we're Papua New Guinea's largest aid donor. So there are some positives there. A way that we might drag that down and give the other side is to talk about perceptions of paternalism. There may be a perception in the region that Australia sort of dominates Papua New Guinea and doesn't give them the sort of agency that they may otherwise have. Hope that one helps. Keep firing through your questions and any feedback on the formats and those sorts of things, please let me know. Have a great evening.
Good luck, everybody. Keep studying.